Greetings from EPG Pathshala. In this module, I am going to discuss about digital signature algorithm. We already have seen the public key cryptography, in which the sender used to use public key of the receiver to encrypt the message, and receiver used to decrypt it with the private key. Now, what is the purpose of digital signature? It is used to authenticate the sender. So, first sender is going to encrypt the message with its own private key, and then it is going to once again encrypt the message with the receiver's public key. Operations are done in which order? First the message, apply the sender's private key, then the receiver's public key. So, at the receiver's side, what would happen? The first receiver would decrypt it with its own private key, then it would decrypt it with the sender's public key. So, when it actually decrypts it with the sender's public key, it is authenticating, it is trying to verify that the message has come from the authenticated source. This is what is needed in the digital communication. When we are communicating, it is very necessary that we need to verify the message has come from the authenticated source, and that is why digital signature algorithm is used, and it is gaining momentum. So, when the communication is going to be heavy, the usage of digital signature algorithm is also going to be heavy. We have already seen the need of digital signature. A user signs a message such that everybody or the intended addressee only can verify the digital signature. Signing a message M by a user A so that any user can verify the signature. It is denoted by D of A and M. Signing a message M by a user A so that only user B can verify the signature. It is denoted by E of B, D of A and message. Sending a message M and a signed message digest of M obtained by using a hash function standard H. M is a message, HM is a hash of the message, and then we are signing this message. So, M is sent along with signed, hash is also sent. So, receiver would get M, it would verify, and then it would get the hash back, compute hash from the received M, and it would check if they are the same. The message is verified. Crypto system, let each user A uses a crypto system with encryption and decryption algorithm denoted by E of A and D of A. E stands for encryption, D stands for decryption. Message is M. In public key cryptography, we do encryption by E of A and M, encryption key, and decryption is done by D of A applied to the encrypted data, that is E of A and M. Signing is, if we use public key signatures, signing is done by a private key of A. So, D of A would be used to sign. Verification of signature would be done by applying the public key E of A to the message encrypted with a private key. So, D of A and message. A digital signature system DSS consists of P, S and K. P is the space of possible plain text, those are called messages. S is the space of all possible signatures, and K is the space of all possible keys. For each K belongs to K, that means for each possible key there is a signing algorithm signature of K that belongs to S of A, and A corresponding verification algorithm exists, verification of K, that belongs to V, such that signature of K is mapped from P to S. P set of possible plain text, S is possible signatures. Verification works on P to S. It results in either true or false. Verification WS is true if S is equal to signature of W, that is signature of the past messages, false otherwise. Algorithm's signature K and verification K should be computable in polynomial time. Verification algorithm can be publicly known. Key of signing algorithm must be kept secret. Signing a message W by A for B by it is D of A applied to message and then encryption. Symmetric solution is with encoding as E of B applied to M and then applying the D of A. This is not a good idea. An active enemy can tamper and can intercept the message and then compute with another decryption key. If you missed out the point, it says if you first apply encryption and then apply the signature, it would not work out, because an interceptor would take the encryption and then he will apply its own signature. So, signature should go in the inner part and encryption should go in the outer part. NIST digital signature algorithm. NIST stands for National Institute of Standards and Technology. It has published the digital signature algorithm, which was published as Federal Information Processing Standard FIPS 186. DSA uses secure hash algorithm. Check the slide, it says what is a DSA approach. M, the message M is appended to whom? First M is given to the hash algorithm. After computation of hash, it is applied to signature algorithm where K is the input. Remember from our discussion, K is nothing but set of possible keys. What is fed to the signature algorithm? PUG and PRA. What is the meaning of this suffix G? Suffix G says there are certain group elements and suffix A says the element which is private to user A. PUG, so they are the group parameters which are public, and PRA, that is a private key of user A. These two things are fed to the signature algorithm along with the hash of the message and all possible keys. Whatever is the output of the signature algorithm, it is appended to the message and it is passed. What is passed? A message S and R. It is given to the receiver. Receiver has received the message, so he would again compute the hash. Hash would be given to the verification algorithm where the group members PUG are the inputs plus public key of A. Remember, on the sender side we used private key of A, and on the receiving side when we are doing the verification we will use the public key of A. Output of the verification algorithm would be compared. You have S and R also, that is to be fed to the verification algorithm. You need to generate an output and compare it with R. If you are goofed up with the parameters used in the previous block diagram, let's once again check. DSA approach makes use of the hash function. Signature function takes two inputs, hash code and random number K. The signature function takes sender's private key and global public key. Sender's private key is denoted by PR of A and global public key is denoted by PUG. The set of parameters known as group of communicating principals constitute PUG. So, PUG is defined for group. The hash code of the incoming message is generated. The hash code plus the signature is input to a verification function. The verification function takes PUG, that is global public key, and PUA, that is paired with sender's private key. So, it is nothing but paired with PRA, it is a sender's private key. The output of the verification function is the value that is equal to signature component R, and if the signature is valid, this comes out exactly to be the R. DSA is based on the difficulty of computing discrete logarithms. Let's see in the detail how signature can be generated. P is a prime modulus. It ranges between 2 raised to L minus 1 to 2 raised to L, and L is the bit length of P. Usually it is kept between 512 and 1024. So, for our illustration we have used 512 less than or equal to L less than or equal to 1024. Observation is L is a multiple of 64. Bit length between 512 and 1024 bits in increment of 64 can be used as P. Q is a prime divisor of P minus 1, where 2 raised to n minus 1 less than Q less than 2 raised to n, and n is the bit length of Q. For example, if P is a prime modulus, P is 15, is it a prime number? No. So, we cannot take 15 to be P. So, P let us take 11, 11 is a prime number. So, Q is nothing but prime divisor of P minus 1. So, P minus 1 comes out to be 10 and divisors are 5 and 2. So, we can take 5 as a Q because Q is nothing but a prime divisor of P minus 1. G is equal to H into P minus 1 divided by Q modulo P. You are clear what is P and what is Q. The question is what is H? H is any integer with 1 less than H less than P minus 1 such that H raised to P minus 1 divided by Q mod P is greater than 1. So, G called a generator of a subgroup of order of Q in the multiplicative group of G, F, P. The additional restriction on G is 1 less than G less than P. H, as I explained already, it is to be between 1 and P minus 1, and additionally H raised to P minus 1 by Q mod P must be greater than 1. We have seen P, Q, G. Now talking about X, X is the private key that must remain secret. X is a randomly or pseudo-randomly generated integer. In our previous modules, we have already seen how to generate a random number or a pseudo-random number. So, 0, the restriction on X is it should be greater than 0 and it should be less than Q. So, X is in the range of 1 to Q minus 1 and it is considered as a user's private key. Y is the public key where Y is equal to G raised to X mod P, it is a user's public key. K, a secret number that is unique to each message. From the block diagram you remember what is K. K is an input to the signature algorithm, that K is randomly or pseudo randomly generated integer. Additional restriction on K is it should also be between 0, it should be greater than 0 and less than Q. So, it should be in the range of 1 to Q minus 1. For every message new K is generated. I think you are clear what is X. X is a private key, Y is the public key. What is K? It is a secret number. How to select the parameter sizes and hash functions for DSA? The standard specifies the following choices for the pair L and N, the bit lengths of P and Q respectively. If L is equal to 1024, then N would be 160. If L is 2048, N would be 224. L is 2048, N can be 256. If L is 3072, N is equal to 256. You all have in mind when I say L, L decides the bit length of the P. P is nothing but a prime modulus with whom we start the generation of the digital signature algorithm parameters. Once we are with L and N, we could generate P, and from P we can generate Q. If we have P and Q at our hand, we can easily generate G. Then we had two parameters called R and S. How to generate R? R is G raised to K mod P mod Q. For S, it is K inverse applied to whom? Hash of the message plus X into R mod Q. You all know what is X. X is the private key. We have already generated in the previous equation. H is the hash. We already said we are using SHA1 as a hash algorithm. K is a random or pseudo-random number generated for each message. We need to generate its inverse to find out S. R and S we have generated, then they constitute the signature. For verification, what we need to do? We need to generate S dash, its inverse mod Q. U1 and U2, these are the additional parameters we have defined on the verifying side. U1 is nothing but we have M dash, apply hash function on it, compute H of M dash, multiply it with W and do the modulo Q. S dash and M dash, R dash, they are nothing but S, M, R received on the receiving side. We will denote them by S dash, M dash and R dash. When we talk about sender, we denote S, M and R. When we talk about receiver, we denote them by S dash, M dash and R dash. U2 is nothing but R dash, that is R received on the receiving side, multiply with W, get modulo Q. V is equal to G of G raised to U1 and Y raised to U2. U1 and U2 we computed in the previous equations. We already have G, we already have Y. So, we can easily compute G raised to U1, Y raised to U2, mod P, mod Q. To verify, what we need to do? We need to test this generated V with received R, that is R dash. M is the terminology. If I revise, M is the message to be signed, H of M is the hash of M using SHA1 algorithm, M dash, R dash, S dash are the received version of M, R and S. If we represent the signing algorithm with the block diagram, you can check M applied to the signing algorithm, the inputs are P, Q and G. For generating R, we need to do G raised to K mod P and mod Q. K is also an input to the generation of S. How to generate S? S is nothing but K inverse. K inverse is the inverse number for the generated random number K multiplied with hash of N summed up with XR. We need to do modulo operation mod Q. M is there, R is there, S is there, M, R, S appended together and sent to the receiver. Signature verification may be performed by any party. It is not necessary that receiver only has to perform the verification. The signatory, the intended recipient or any other party. A signatory may wish to verify that the computed signature is correct before sending the signed message to the actual recipient. The intended recipient or any other party can also verify the signature to determine its authenticity. The signature verification process is as follows. The verifier shall check that 0 is less than R dash and less than Q. That is the first case to be considered. R dash should always be between 0 and Q and S dash should always be between 0 to Q. If either condition is violated, the signature shall be rejected as invalid. The two conditions in step 1 are satisfied, then the verifier computes more things. It computes W as said in the previous slide, S dash, that is received component S, its inverse with modulo Q, U1 and U2 component. U1 is nothing but M dash, that is received message, apply hash to it, multiply it with W and get the modulo Q. U2 is nothing but R dash, multiply it with W and mod Q. V can be generated by exponentiating U1 with G, exponentiating U2 with Y and taking the modulo P and modulo Q. As I emphasized, if this V proves to be equal to R dash, the signature is verified. If V does not equal to R dash, then the message or the signature is considered to be modified. So, there may have been an error in the signatory's generation process or an imposter who did not know the private key associated with the public key. That is how he has tried to forge the signature and the signature shall be considered invalid. This is a block diagram for signing and verifying. So, receiving components are M dash, R dash, S dash and now you are very clear. M dash would be applied to hash algorithm, hash would generate HM dash, from that U1, U2 and V components will be generated. For the computation of U1, U2, V, R dash is an again input and W is input. How to compute W? W is computed from S dash, and signature verification is nothing but is R dash equal to V. What is the strength of DSA? It is infeasible to recover K from R or to recover X from S because of difficulty in taking discrete logarithm. We have already covered what is discrete logarithm to find out the root from the component. G raised to K mod P is computationally heavy, but value does not depend on the message, so can be computed in advance. Only calculating K inverse every time the random number is generated and its inverse is computed. Calculating K dash is a demanding task. For your reference, I have included one example of the digital signature generation. I have taken a reference from NIST itself. 1024-bit modulus with change notice PRNG is there to generate a random number, pseudo-random number, GTC using SHA1. Constructing a set of domain parameters P, Q and G. Seed value is taken as this, it is denoted in terms of Hagg's value. So, it is a very large value 144C1DF2830A665 9A80ED71C06E 9DE5065 to F7EA. So, such a large seed is taken. From that Q and P are generated. You can check the large value of P and large value of Q with the counter value of 24. The algorithm is applied with 20 counter to be 24. H is taken to be 2. You all have the criteria in your mind how to select H. Then to generate G, computing a private and public key pair using the revised algorithm found in change notice for computing X values, X key and X seed are computed. From X value, the computation of W0 is done and following value of X key is updated. In such way W0, W1 and W1 are appended together and X value is there. From X the computed Y value is shown. M is the message which is nothing but a ASCII form of ABC. SHA1 is applied to compute the hash. Using the algorithm K key is generated. So, we have W0, K value, W1, K value, W0 and W1 is appended together so that we can generate K. But computation is to be done with K inverse as well. So, K inverse is computed. Now, we have all the parameters with us. So, R and S values are shown. All these values are for your reference to find out the values look like, and this is how they are used. For verification of a signature, W, U1 and U2 are generated. The sample values are shown in the slide. The value of W is 0351270909708 1 dB, D023 D9BB 6382580 B345E 7 BC. Equations are all with you how to generate U1 and U2. From that, G raised to U1 mod P, Y raised to U2 mod P, and from that V is generated. So, you can see in the slide how large the values are and their exponent is always going to be large. So, this is how digital signature algorithm works. To summarize digital signature algorithm, you have seen that many parameters are to be generated. Verification algorithm also needs certain parameters that should be computed on the receiver's side. And if the verification is done, then the message is considered to be an authenticate message.